Hello, this is the TradeSight U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview and Domestic Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Monday, the 28th of July, 2014, ending on Friday, August 1st. Yes, we are almost 7 months into 2014 already. Where does the time go? Unbelievable. If you like this information, you find it useful, please like us on YouTube. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal 11. Here's a look at, and actually eSignal 12 now as well. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. Didn't do much this week, hasn't done much this month at all. Been a very tame July, unfortunately, but summer doldrums have set in very well this month. I just scanned back real quick and show you last July, and it was a big moving month, as you can see right here in the middle of the chart. So, Julys can be big because it's the start of the second half of the year. This year, they're just not doing a lot with the money. We had that 13 sell signal about 2.5 weeks ago. We kind of pulled back a little bit from that, had a couple big down days, but we recovered from them. And the earnings season that we put up with for the last 2 weeks, that kind of has a side impact on the market. So with no big negative surprises, the market was able to hold up and break that pink risk line that you see there. It's now dashed because it was broken, violated from the 13 sell signal. But I still think we're right there where that signal was at this point in time. We've rolled over a bit on Friday. It'd be interesting to see what the trend is now that we're done with most of these earnings. And by the way, I'll point out also that this week there's a lot of economic data due, as you'll see shortly. So we're going to have a bunch of things to keep an eye on this week for sure. So that's look at the ES. Let's take a look now at the S&P Cash Index. It's going to look about the same, obviously, as the futures do. Here's the NASDAQ side. NASDAQ made new highs this week. Closing high was on Wednesday. We got a little higher on Thursday, pulled back, and then gapped down on Friday. And did not fill the gap, as you'll see soon. So we'll have a little more positive action here. What's interesting is the SOX usually is what leads the NASDAQ. And unfortunately, here's the SOX the last couple of days getting hammered. So we'll see if that means something less positive for the NASDAQ moving forward, obviously. Here's a look at oil, crude oil, hanging out around the 102 level still. Hasn't moved much. It's really interesting this year to see how flat a lot of these things are for the last several months. Even the commodities and stuff like that. I mean, this is the time of year where there's a lot of issues because of the heat. We've got higher energy costs. The potential for hurricanes starts right around now. Oil usually is on a rise into that, and in addition to that, we've obviously got a lot of strange things going on around the world, in the Ukraine and in Israel, that should have some uncertainty on the price of oil, and yet pretty much we're where we were 3-4 months ago in oil. So that is interesting. And gold, same story, dead flat, trapped between two static trend lines. All right, so let's move on and take a look at this week, what we just completed, and see what we did in the market. So here's the last 5 days plus a little bit of last Friday. So as you can see in 10-minute bars, we didn't get a single 13 Comer signal this week, all week long. That's pretty amazing. That's because we were so flat so many of these days. Again, it was earnings time, which a lot of times means gap and flat, just the market waiting for those earnings to come out. If you've never been through an earnings environment before, if you're new to us, we try to point that out because it is different. It's a very different environment than most of the rest of the quarter. It's important that you understand what's going on there. So Monday we gapped down, wiggled around a bit, came back up and didn't quite fill the gap. Tuesday we gapped up, so that fills the gap for Monday. Dead flat, never filled that gap at all, came until Friday. Then Wednesday, fairly flat opening, fairly flat session. Thursday, tiny little gap up, filled it immediately. Dead flat session again. Friday, gapped down, headed lower, filled the gap from Tuesday from Tuesday morning. Look at that, exactly to the tick right there, right? Reached down to fill that gap, and that was it for Friday. We knew Friday was going to be slow. It's still a summer Friday. This is a very summer environment. A lot of people not trading, a lot of people gone doing the family vacation thing. It's just a lighter environment. So we haven't filled the one gap that's above on the futures. Now let's take a look at the NASDAQ side. Obviously, it should look somewhat similar. But meanwhile, Monday it gapped down, and it did fill the gap. Tuesday the gap up and dead flat. Look how flat that is on the futures on Tuesday. Wow. Wednesday gapped up, did not fill. Went a little higher and flat. Thursday gapped up and filled, but was mostly flat for the rest of the session. Friday we gapped down. Now in this case, this fulfills the gap from Wednesday morning, but we never got down low enough to fill the gap from Tuesday morning. So we've got competing gaps on the NASDAQ side right now, one below and one above. Remember, 80% of gaps fill the same day, 95% fill within a week. So don't be surprised if we reach up, fill the one that was on Friday, and then head lower and fill the other one at some point in time. All right, so that's what we saw this last week. Let's go ahead and start looking at the economic data. This is going to be a busy week for economic data, and that could be a good thing for the market. Obviously, gives us a lot more opportunity if the market's moving a little bit faster in the morning. So Monday, just the pending home sales data. That's 10 a.m., 30 minutes into the market. On Tuesday, we get the S&P Case-Shiller 20-City Index, 30 minutes before the bell. Consumer confidence can be a mover. That's 30 minutes into the bell. That can make the market do stuff. So we'll be looking for that on Tuesday. But you also start a 2-day Fed meeting on Tuesday, so be aware of that. Then Wednesday, here's where Wednesday and Friday are the big ones. We've got the MBA mortgage index, we've got the ADP employment change, and then 8:30 a.m., an hour before the stock market opens, our first look at gross domestic product from the second quarter. This is a quarterly number. The first look is important, and it typically will cause a gap whether we beat or don't beat the expectations, which are set at about 3.2% for annualized growth. With that comes the chain deflator advanced, and then an hour into the market, we've got crude oil inventories. And then at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, the conclusion of the Fed meeting with the Fed announcement. Probably won't be much of a surprise there, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Then you go to Thursday, challenger job cuts, initial and continuing claims, employment cost index, Chicago PMI, another full day. That's important data right there, the Chicago PMI. And then natty gas. And then we move on to Friday, and this is quite amazing for a Friday morning. So we've got the non-farm payroll data that comes with the unemployment rate. That's a big number, an hour before the bell. That should cause some excitement. Personal income and spending, PCE prices, that's an inflation index. Michigan sentiment, final look, about half an hour in. ISM index is a big one. Construction spending, not really that big. And then in the afternoon, auto and truck sales. So that's a lot of data coming out on Friday morning as well that we need to be aware of, because it's probably going to cause some gaps in the market. And hopefully some excitement early, because as we know, summer Fridays tend to be a little dull. So the most action usually markets Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are the big institutional days. Obviously in the summer, that may still be the case in general, but overall the environment is toned down a bit, and that makes Mondays and Fridays usually even weaker. All right, that's where we'll be. We'll be in the lab helping you make money, teaching you how to trade, giving you some trade calls. Hope to see you there. Have a great trading week.